How are we doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Getting Silly. I'm Will, and today we're getting it played a little bit late. I had to move this lunchtime stream, and I also need to. My volume was up on my phone because I was actually over meeting me at the table just to say hey before I jumped over here, and they had no sound. I was like, "Is it my phone? Is it my phone?" No, they didn't have sound. They were going through the whole game. It's one of the struggles. It's actually probably a good reason why sometimes I do have the sound on my phone. And I at least know my sound is working before I get too far in. And I think for me, it's more because I don't always have you guys in the chat, like, especially when I move streams like this. But yeah, we did move the stream. We had some technical, I will say technical difficulties. We had technical difficulties in the requirement of an ID card before we went down to West Palm for a biometrics test. I'll just say it that way. Yeah, Audrey had misplaced her ID, so we had to go find it. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and do a solo playthrough of Coexist. I played it. We played a two-player. It was a fine game. I want to see if the solo mode does better. And what actually got me to want to play this is the Dice Tower view by Camilla. She just really hated the game, and I'm thinking, did I miss something? Like the playthrough I had, it wasn't bad. Like there's a little disconnect. But like what you're doing makes sense. In the solo, I think it's going to make a lot more sense because I just kind of reading through the rules. You're just trying to beat a score, right? But you have some additional things you need to accomplish. So we'll go ahead and go over how to play the game and then what the solo mode changes in that. Nope, not that low, Will. Let's go slightly higher than that. There we go, slightly higher than that. Slightly zoomed out a little bit more on that. So we are set up for a solo game of Coexist. The only difference between a solo and a multiplayer is everybody gets a board of their own. There are different specialties. So basically there are multiple what they call faunas. There's forest, air, sea, exotic, and then if you get the 5th player expansion, there's also the Hisa expansion, which is just another basically exotic fauna. In the game, you're basically going to be going through turns. On your turn, you can take one of 3 main actions. The first main action is taking cards. So to take cards, you can either take all of the caretaker cards, and you'll get the respective symbols, and you'll need to either place them onto your board or onto an animal that can accept those tokens. The second thing you do is take the animals. So each animal has a particular value. So you can see that's 5, that one is 6. And depending where you are on this track, depends how much you can take. So at the very beginning, you can take up to a value 10 animal. All right. Why am I wanting the animals? Well, I want to be able to release them back into the wild. So we're trying to rewild these animals by fulfilling obligations or requirements. So on the bottom of these, you will see that there are identifying markers, basically the caretakers, and on the top there are also identifying markers. So what is the difference? The bottom is what you would get if you actually don't release it properly, if that makes sense. And so you'll basically get these types of caretakers into your board. The top one is the requirements to actually release it properly. By releasing it properly, you're going to get score points at the end of the game, and you may get some kind of ongoing instant ability, just like most games, right? And Streamlabs finally caught up, so now it's spamming chat because it caught the chat before we went live from lunch, and then it caught my couple exclamation point things. Yeah, it's catch up. But yeah, so that is what we're trying to do with the animals: either capture them or release them to get the resources, or release them to get the points. All right. The second action you can take is let's see what they call them, very specific things. Is the conservation center action. So this is like one of the biggest actions. So on this action you can unfortunately the player aid doesn't have it, which was one of the things I didn't like before. You can house your animals. So what that means is you are housing your animals. We already did. You can place an animal into the common and protected area, which means that you're basically just releasing them to get the resources, which we talked about. You are assigning and moving caretakers. So when you are assigning and moving caretakers, you can basically move your caretakers from the general pool area onto one of the animals, or maybe if you just placed an animal into the protected area, you're going to gain additional resources, then now you can place those onto the animals as well. And then last thing is, of course, releasing the animal from captivity, which was talked about by having the required resources on them. Now, some animals, though, when you do release them to the common area, basically placing them in the protected area, you do get a negative, right? Because you don't want to put them in a protected area. That's like, I guess that's like saying putting them in a zoo, right? You want them to go back out into the wild to encourage, the rewilding. So if you do that, you're basically going to put a moon marker down here in this bottom section. And as you go, you're going to start losing points. You're going to start losing basically your drafting, recruiting ability, and so forth until basically you get no points for at least this track. And you have a limit of 6, meaning in this particular case, I would only be able to get that giraffe, right? Sorry, when you're placing, I missed. I had to double check. So yes, when you're taking the conservatory, when you're taking the caretakers, these have to go on the board. They can't go on animal. Earlier I said they could go on animal. They can't. They have to go on the board. So if you're completely full with animals, you can't even take any more of those particular items. The last thing is the action to train. So what training allows you to do is you can turn in certain caretakers. Basically, you're going to train to another caretaker. So for example, if you do 2 of the yellow, which I call the apple, but they've got technical names, but the bitten apple, if you get 2 bitten apples, you can get some water, 2 waters to a purple, 2 purples to a green. So you can kind of see your levels. Green are the best, which means less animals are going to have that on there. Purple second best, water is third best, and then of course orange is at the bottom. Right? That's pretty much it. That's the game, right? And so we're trying to do that to get the most points. In this particular one, I am playing the forest. So the forest setup for the solo mode is basically the forest and the exotic. Then you can have the air and the sea. You can have the sea and the forest. You got exotic and air. There isn't one for the HISA expansion. So I've got a question on BGG, and somebody else had too. I don't think Matagot's going to come back to it because they had actually already made a post in that thread and never came back to it. So we're wondering whether you can just switch out the HISA for one of the secondaries. I don't think that would be a problem. Fixing it for the primaries, though, does become a new issue because the primary, right, you have this special ability that you get, which may be impacting these other missions that they've created. So the only change to the game is the step here, right? So normally what you would do is everybody who's in the game, you'd shuffle and build your deck based off of that. This one here, I'm just building it off the decks they told me to. And then at the end of my turn, it is going to call through the actual line, right? That's the way that it can refresh. Otherwise, it's just going to be the same things out there every turn. It also does put a little bit of urgency on me. Like if I think I want an animal, I might need to get that animal because it's going to go away. So whatever's over here on the right side will go away on the next turn. So if I want this monkey, I need to take that monkey as early as possible. All right. That I think is pretty much it. Mission 1. So this is the difference. So in order for us to be able to go to mission 2, we need to finish mission 1. Mission 1, each caretaker who isn't assigned to an animal makes you lose 2 victory points at the end of the game. So I don't want a lot of extra caretakers. And then I need 27 points to be able to progress. And as you can see, they're expecting you to get better. So it's 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I don't remember what me and Audrey scored the first time we played. Our little scoring pad is out in another room, so I can't tell you. The way that the game ends is, I believe it's when the deck runs out. Let me double check. Which would make sense why they're, we're only shuffling 2 decks together. Nope. Reputation, yeah. End of turn. End of game. End of game is triggered when a player releases their 5th animal, or when the last card of the draw pile is revealed, right? So either 5th animal or draw pile is depleted. So we'll go ahead and see how this works. All right. So I know he's going to get rid of the monkey. All right. I know he's going to get rid of the monkey. So do I just go ahead and get the monkey now? The problem is I can't get 11, meaning I can't get the giraffe too. So I'd be kind of sacrificing some. Or would I just say, okay, I don't need the monkey, let him go, and I'll get some resources. So what the monkey does, oh, he's kind of good. At the beginning of your turn, you get to take a caretaker of the indicated color. So he basically is going to give me a free orange. There's usually always two. I don't know where the other one went. It'll come and visit me later. But that would give me a free orange at the beginning of your turn. Now, the only thing is, with that mission 1, I will lose 2 victory points for each extra. So maybe I don't want that extra. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's take the resources, clear that out. So that's going to get us 1 pink, 1 orange, and 1 blue. Now, you are restricted. You can only have 1 type of resource in each one of the rows. So if you run out of spaces, you're basically going to have to either trade in or, put them on an animal or something. So that is that. Now, does it say do that before or after my refill? At the end of your turn, discard the farthest card in the draw pile. There's at least 1 left. Oh, if there's at least 1. Okay. So here's they didn't show any cards gone, so that kind of got confusing. All right. So this is going to get discarded. I guess I should put the discard to the right to make that easier. And then slide. Hang on. Did it tell me to slide? Yes. Slide. So that means I will lose the giraffe. Hopefully there's another. Yep. There's a 4. So the wolf. The rhino. That. And that. All right. So I got the choice. I'll get the giraffe. So if I get the giraffe, do I want the wolf or the rhino? So the wolf, for the entire game, unlock a new space in your conservation. That's good. So he's going to give me a new space in my conservation center, which is basically they have these extra boards, so you can actually get 1 more space. So that's actually pretty good. The rhino allows me to discard the indicated number of survival tokens in your reputation track from the right. So that would happen at the end. So what ones are going to give, if I get rid of 1, which one's going to get rid of 1? The giraffe is going to recruit all or some of the caretakers. So this one, when I complete it, I'm going to be able to get all the caretakers. He is actually going to remove a moon as well. So the question comes down to, I've got 1 of each of these, which isn't enough for anybody yet, but the giraffe does not need a green, and the green's the hardest to get. So, do I get these for the animal, or do I get them for the giraffe, so I can get the resources for the giraffe? I think I want it for the animal too. So if I can complete the giraffe, right, and I leave them out there too, it doesn't matter. There's an orange, so I would be able to get this. Oh no, it's going to take that orange. That orange is going to disappear. So I won't have 2 oranges. But my next action, I could move things over to make some more room. I think I want to go with this. I don't think I want to go with that. So we're going to go with the wolf and the giraffe. Now, what's nice, they actually have, if you like information, they have the information about the animals in the back, right? So here's the giraffe there, and then the wolf is in the forest. So that is a Eurasian wolf. The ancestor of the dog, the wolf is often frowned upon, especially for its incursions into livestock herds. However, this canid plays a critical role in the balanced ecosystem, as demonstrated by its reintroduction into Yellowstone National Park in the United States. Info. I like info. All right. So then I forgot. He's going to get rid of that because I left it there. All right. So. Oh, wow. Yeah. So we can take as much as we can fit on our board. So we're going to take all of that. So that. And then 2 of those. So our next action we know is going to be putting our caretakers with our animals. It's almost a sure thing. And then he's going to get rid of this one. All right, so we do need to get some green. Got to get some green. I don't know what they're called. The leaf-looking thing, the plant thing. All right, so this turn we are going to do our conservation board. So it allows us to relocate as much as we want. So we're going to relocate that. Relocate both of those. Relocate this. Okay, and then that allows us to free him. So this is our first of 5. By freeing him, but I'm freeing him a little bit too early. Because he, like I said, he removes the moon. I don't have the moon yet. So what I could do, instead of freeing him, instead of letting him go this turn, let's clear this out so we can put those there. Now, I don't have to. I can complete him and not free him. I don't have to free him just because it's completed. So he's completed. He's good to go. So if we look at the wolf does need a purple as well. So we'll move that other purple over there. All right. And that's all I want to do for my conservation board action. Again, end of my turn. So it is still going to remove a card. That keeps this going. That is a lot of animals out there. Ooh, a tiger. I like tigers. All right. So in order to do the wolf, I do need to get something that if I were to put in the common, I can get. So this is a double-edged sword. I get the green, but it's 3 moons. Wow. But he's giving me 2 orange, 2 blue, a purple, and a green. He's getting a lot of resources. Which I need another orange. I need 2 water, so he's gonna give me that. I think I'm gonna do it. So I can do up to 10, so that's 8. There is no 2, so I'm kind of stuck with that. That is all I can take this round. All right. I feel like this could be very quick in solo. Like it feels like it's very efficient in solo. All right, so we're going to take. Hang on, do I want the bobcat? What's the bobcat give me? So the bobcat. So if you can't place things on your board, you do lose them. Oh, when I was doing all this assigning, why did I not assign the 2 water to him? So I didn't need the 2 water that's going to give me. Let's see here. So the bobcat is here. When you move an animal to the common protected area, double the retrieved caretakers of the indicator color. Okay, so he's going to give me double green. So if I complete him before I get rid of him, the problem is I need 2 green. That's hard. That's a good one though, because like I said, green is the hardest one to get. He's going to double the green. Do I go ahead and get him? Do I go ahead and get him before I discard? Or I can discard him at any time. Then that only leaves me 1 track. But when I discard him, then I can go ahead and complete this as well. I think I do. I think he's very important. This one here, when you move an animal to the common protected area, ignore this survival token. So he lets you ignore the moon, basically, which they call the survival token, right? I think I am. So I think I'm going to get him and discard that. All right. Although we're going through this deck quick. All right, let's start rescuing some animals. All right, so we're going to set him to the wild. Right. He's going to give me 2 orange, 2 blue, 1 purple, and 1 green. Then I can assign these. So I'm going to assign my green, my 2 orange. I already have purple there. So we're going to assign the other purple here, and the other 2 blue here. Right? And then we do have to add 3 moons, unfortunately. 1, 2, 3. Now we are going to rewild this one. So we're going to send him out. That does allow me to remove 1 moon. And then immediately I can gain 1 of every resource. So definitely going to go ahead and gain a green. And then an orange. I need that too. And then a purple because they're valuable. And why not? Let's just go ahead and get the water as well. So that is our first of 5 that we need to rescue. Now, I am down to 9, so I only have 9 recruit, and I lost 4 points. If I can get this gone, then I can actually get that back. So that was the end of my turn. Oh, hang on, I can get rid of this guy too, can I? I can free him. Yep, so he can go too. So actually, that's 2. I have an ongoing ability now. Need a way to remember the ongoing abilities. Let's put them up here instead. Let's do it this way. All right, so we have an ongoing ability. I get unlock a new space. So now we have 1 additional space. So we're going to slide all that over. We have 1 extra space for our board. So now we can get 1 more animal or resources, right? It really doesn't matter. So to complete this, I need... Oh, this is done too. Yeah, this is done too now. Because see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, nope, I need 1 more green. Need 1 more green. Okay. And then that's going to remove another moon. So we'll be back at our points. But to get that green, we are going to have to discard a card at some point. So, lost the tiger. And get 1 new card. All right, so I need a green for here. The little fox can give me that. That's only 5. Unfortunately, I only have 9, so I'd only be able to get him. The elk needs 2. Or I can get resources. Right now, I don't need resources. I need this fox. So we're going to go ahead and take the fox. That's all we can do. All right. All right, so I want one of these animals before I decide to release the fox. So I have 9. I have a 5, a 6, and a 6. So when I release the fox, I'm going to get water, a purple, a green, and then a moon. The moon's going to get removed there, so the moon I'm not concerned about. But so I'm going to get an extra, purple and blue. So does something need... This needs 1 purple, 2 blue. No blue. This needs 2 purple, 2 blue, and a green. The problem is I wish I could have completed that before I did this. Because see, then I would get that 2 times the green. But I can't. There's no way for me to complete this before doing this. Yeah, and my specialty is I gain 1 for each green animal. I kind of want to focus on green animals. I did read that. So I could get this, which I'd be closer to finishing. But because I'm going to have this double, I think I am going to go with the deer. I'm going to go ahead and take him. So this goes away. All right. Oh, I forgot there are green in the row. That's going to stay there, though. He's not going to get rid of that. So I think I am going to go ahead and do the board action. So that way I can get this, and that gives me a double for my deer here. So we're going to go ahead and free him, which gets us a water, a purple, a green, which we need on him anyways, and a moon. And then I can move my caretakers around as I need to. So we're going to go ahead and move these. this. And then we are going to rescue this guy. So like I said, he gives me the ongoing ability. Now, whenever I release a green, is it just release? No, I want the infinite one. There we go. The beginning, no. No. Where's that symbol? I found it earlier. There it is. When you move an animal to the common protected area. So now when I release, I was thinking this would do it. That won't do it. It's when I release the common area. All right. And when I did that, also this came back off. So I'm back at 9 because I added 1 when I did the release. I forgot about that too. Oh. All right. So this is gone. All right. So we're at 3 of 5. He needs the green. So in order for me to get double, this will get me a single. I would have to release somebody to get a double. Now there is a 2 out there, so I could get 2 animals. I think maybe that's what I do. Maybe I take the 2, and then this is a -2. That's really good. This isn't going to go away, so I still can get it the next turn. I think let's do that. Let's get the monkey and the deer. This is going away. This is good for me anyways, because maybe we can get more resource things to come out. That's another one. A panda. It's a panda bear. Oh, and 2 greens. Yes, that is perfect. All right, so we're going to take everything. Because I have the spaces, because I have this extra board. If I didn't have this extra board, that would actually not be a good thing. But we have it. So yay for us. Now that is, again, going to accelerate the timer because that is one of the in-game conditions is when the timer runs out. Now, it's possible you can still get the points, but you kind of want to get all 5 because you want to get as many points as you can to do it. So and then that's the one it's going to remove. Because, yeah, this is that probably was not a good idea. Because he's going to start sliding these off because there's 4 more cards in the deck. So, all right, we want to take the conservation action. Now the question is, this is going to let me get rid of 2 by completing it. So I don't want to get rid of him. I want to get rid of the deer. So, actually, do I want to get rid of the deer? Yeah, I have to because I need another leaf for him. So, we're going to release the deer. That does add 2 here, but it gives us an orange that we're going to need here. It's going to give us 2 water, which we're going to need here. That is not a water. That's a water. It's going to give us 1 purple, which we're going to need here. It's going to give us 1 green, but that gets doubled to 2 green because of that. Luckily, again, we have this extra board. So that is that. Oops, hang on. I was looking at that backwards. Dang it. No, that isn't the guy. That wasn't going to help me. Oh, I was looking at the top. This is part of it that I've seen get confusing. All right. Why did I put 2 water on him? All right. He doesn't give me a leaf. He gives me a leaf. But I want him to get the -2 moons. Oh. So that's not going to... Okay, I'm going to have to make space. I'm going to have to make space so I can get another animal that can get me leaves. So, all right. So luckily we got these 2 leaves on that previous turn. So we got the 2, the 1, the 1, the 2. All right. So we are good there. So instant. What you guys... There. Okay. So my instant is +1. Where are you at? There we go. No. Here we go. Take an animal from the mission board, ignoring the housing value. Ooh. So I get to take 1. That actually might be better. All right. So we're looking at the bottom. Well, we want here. So, and we really just want this, right? We just want the green, which all of it's going to give us 2 moons to get rid of. So what's more beneficial? 3. I need the water, right? Because I have no water. So we want the bear. All right. So that finishes that one. So that is 4. So we only need one more animal there. And then I can also do the rest of my conservation board actions. So I took him. I can now actually release him now. So I'm going to release him now, which gets me my 2 oranges. Gets me my water. Do I want to end the game with him? No, I want to end the game with this one. So we're going to do that one. Water there. I hope I have a way to get more water. And then I get 2 green instead of 1. So we'll put them on both of them. This does add 2 moons, though. There. Now, I also have the... Oh, I don't even need that on that one. I need another water and 2 purples. So I do have the 2 purples. So, can I get a water? Now, this would require me to do a train action. So I can get my other water by doing a train action. So that's probably what I'll do in the next turn. But I do need another purple. I need another blue here, too. I really want to do him, though. So that's my primary focus. So, yeah. That's my primary focus. Now let me double check. Does it say the game ends immediately when that happens, or do we play out one more round? So I know some games, right, you get one more round. Some it's an immediate. The end of the game is triggered when a player releases their 5th animal. Players keep playing until the end of the round, so that each one plays the same number of turns as possible to release more than 5 animals. Okay, so you can release more than 5 animals. All right. So I do have 2 spots. There's only 2 cards, so if I even take 1 card, I think we get 1 more round. Or when the last card is revealed. So when the last card is revealed, then we get 1 more round. So once the AI pulls out that last card. So I can take 1 card. Actually, I could take 2 cards. I can take as many as I want because it's just going to reveal the last cards. And then that's the last round. So can I optimize in any way? So I need a water. I can get a water doing this. But if I do that, then I'm not taking any cards. There is a water there. That would also give me my purple. I think it's better to do this. So yeah, why do the trading? Yeah, I'll do the trading. So I will do both of these. I don't want extra caretakers. Remember, that was one of my losing scoring conditions. So I'm going to take both of these. It does mean that it will be the end of the round, technically, on the next round. Which I think I'm fine with, because that will give me what I need for him and him. And on the next round, I'll do my conservation board, which will allow me to release them and get all the rewards. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So we're going to get that and that for these 2. Right. He's going to do that one. And then we revealed the last 2 cards. So we are now, this is the last round. So I'm going to take the conservation action, which allows me to, in any order, and you can do this in any order, right? Oh, that didn't give me enough water. Oh, I didn't get enough water. I needed 2 water. And the training is a totally separate action. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's what it is. All right, so I'm going to do this one here, which allows me to, which unfortunately means I should have looked. I'm going to say I didn't take that purple because I couldn't have completed that one. I was miscalculating. So that completes this one. All right. And by completing that, I do instantly -2. Now, I don't know why some are like that and some are down in the bottom. That doesn't make sense to me. Like, some have it in the bottom, some have it in the top. Discard the indicated number of survival tokens in your reputation track from right to left. But sometimes they're down in the card, too. Am I doing that right? Where's the card diagram? All right. Oh, no, no. Okay. Well, technically, I was doing it right, if you think about it. So it is required to be released. So that is a caretaker as well. But what you would have done is you would have needed to be able to put it on the animal when you did the release. So it all works out the same. But I guess if I didn't have an animal that could house that, then it would have been different. I think each time I had it, if I didn't, oh well. Oh well. All right. We'll just we're trying to figure this out. We're going through it. We're just going through the paces. All right. So that's it. That is the end of the game. So now we're going to score up our points. So 3, 5, 6, 12, 19, 26, 31. 34, and then I get 35, 36, 37, and is that everything? Conservation, reputation, yeah, so 37, and then I lose 2 points who isn't assigned. So 2, 4, 37. So that puts me down to 33. So 33. Needed to get 27. I got 33. All right, let's go ahead and do my, I guess, first impressions of the solo mode. Because again, this is the second time I've played it. All right, so here we are. We're going to do my first/second impressions overall. Because again, this is solo mode. So the first thing is the components. The big thing that drew, I think, a lot of people to this game and drew me to the game as well is the art. The art on these cards is just beautiful. It's if I understand it, it's a self-taught art style that this particular artist taught himself, kind of from a graffiti type art background, if I remember correctly. And so this is his style, and it's beautiful art. It looks great. I have another game which has a very similar type of art style. It's called I've got it behind something. I think Wild Realms, I think is what it was. It's more of a PvP type game, which is available right now if you do a donation to Extra Life. I do have that as one of the games that's up. We just don't do much of PvP games anymore. But no, the art's great. I like the deluxe chunky bits. This is, of course, a Kickstarter edition, so it does have the chunky bits. It is linen finish. The only thing really that's kind of a downside on it is the choice of, and it's the same problem I had. So I think I get why they did it, right? White means like always usually a positive thing, right? So you gain, and then the gray is what it would require to release it. I get why they did that, and it's a double use, so that's fine as well. But I always forget, and when me and Audrey played the first time, same thing. We keep forgetting which is which. You saw me like halfway through, like I did the bottom for half, and then I switched up to the top for the next half. So it just kind of gets weird. It'd been nice if there was maybe just a little icon that was like a plus or a minus, like really like a red plus, or sorry, a green plus and a red minus in these spots. So it just kind of made it slightly more clear. The iconography is fine. It's mostly language independent, except for the rules, because again, everything is just iconography. So once you read it, you're pretty good there. The player board is hit and miss. Like it goes together as this little puzzle thing that they did, which is fine. I don't know why they didn't just do a folding board, because the second problem is, as you can see, well, let's see the right side. It is French on one side, English on the other, which Matagot's very common, though they do both the English and French. But you can see the art doesn't line up, right? The art doesn't line up correctly on the bottom there. So until you have cards covering that up, your OCD may drive you mad. The rulebook is fine. I think it explains how to play the game. The only thing that was kind of confusing, and even in this gameplay I may have played it wrong, is it's not clear, like when you place an animal in the protected area, right? It says, then take the supply, caretaker, and survival token shown on the card. But that's it, right? Because it says you can perform the actions in any order as many times you want. So, okay, I did that. So then I guess the next thing is I would do, okay, I'm going to assign the caretakers. So then you assign those to an animal, right? It then says you can really take something from an animal and put it into the reserve. But if I release the animal and these are already sitting on the side of the board, do they have to go to the animal first and then they go to the reserve? Or can I just take them can I go from A to like B part 3, right? It's really not clear in this thing what you have to do. So I probably played it wrong this time again, but I think you have to put it on an animal. And if that animal can't, uh, hold it, then you have to get rid of it. So because it says assign available to an animal or placing them on, only if your animal is able to receive them, right? So it's kind of weird. So that's the part of the rules that's kind of confusing. And I almost guarantee you I played that wrong during this playthrough, because the way I played it makes more sense. But that would explain probably why I got such a high score, because I was getting a lot of resources I probably shouldn't have gotten. So that kind of leads into the next thing, which is the mechanics. So the mechanics, you have the 3 different phases, right? You have the the 3 different actions, right? You have the acquire card action that is split into 2 different options. Do I want to get caretakers and resources, or do I want to get the animals that then I can use those caretakers and resources for? You have the conservation board, which is again probably the most complicated and fiddly part. And I can see, like, in a multiplayer game, that could get very long if you just don't let the next person go. And you probably should. If someone says, oh, I'm doing the caretaker action, let them go, have the next person go. Because to a small degree, unless one of their cards is the one like I had, which says +1 card, if they have that card, then yes, you're going to have to let them finish so they can do that. But if they don't, let the next person go, right, is probably a way to solve that. Third thing is the training action. The training action is its own action, and I get why. It's like, okay, it's risk versus reward. Do I want to do something else, or do I really, really want to get that resource? If I really, really want to get that resource, I'm going to take the train action and get as many of whatever resource I need. So I kind of see why that's the way it is. I do like that. It's multi-use card, right? Each of the animal cards has 2 uses. Do I want to use it for the resources? Do I want to use it for the points and the acquiring the different caretakers it takes to rewild them? So I like that. The resources is kind of nice too, right? It's like, as long as you have spaces on your board, you can take as many of the resource cards as you want. So you can really pile up your resources if you want. The releasing of the animals to get resources is kind of cool, right? And the same thing, you get that negative if you don't, because you are doing that, and then you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to offset that negative? If you have an animal that has the symbol, then of course, yeah, okay, I can put it on that animal. If I don't have an animal, then of course it's going that bottom track. I kept putting it in the bottom track because I was doing that wrong. But you're supposed to put it on the animal versus the bottom track. If you can't put it on the animal, then it goes in the bottom track. Either way. But yeah, so mechanics are pretty neat and interesting the way they've done them. Next is the difficulty. I don't feel like this isn't a difficult game in terms of complexity, but I think wrapping your mind around the releasing of the animals versus the common pool that they called it takes a little bit to get used to, especially because thematically, if I was releasing the animal, I'd be putting it in the discard pile, right? Or I'd be putting it onto a side deck or something like that. But it says, like, put it on your board. Like, well, to me, okay, I just captured that animal, right? I didn't release it. And then same thing, like, okay, if you're putting it into a protected area, it's going in the discard pile. Okay, I guess the discard pile is just where is the zoo or whatever, right? So I think that's where the difficulty comes in, is understanding that. And then that one section I mentioned in the rule book where it's not quite clear how you're supposed to allocate the resources that you get, right? Are you supposed to only put them on one animal? That actually adds a whole new level of complexity, because if that's the case, you need to make sure you have a couple animals, or you have one animal that's basically like a whale and he can just hold everything, and then you move everything off of him to somebody else, and then you use that whale to get all the resources on top of him. So that kind of strategy is where the complexity can go up, is really figuring out that puzzle. So fun at 2. I mean, I didn't have a problem with it at 2. It was a fine game. It plays very similar like you see here, right? The only difference is the bot only does 1 card per turn, right? Even if it's like resources, where when you're playing against an actual human player, they're going to take multiple resource cards per turn. or they're going to take maybe 2 animals instead of just the 1 animal. So it does add a little bit more to the game. Now, at higher player counts, because again, it can go up to 5 if you have the expansion, I feel like some of that downtime, like I said, if everybody does a conservation act or use your conservation board and they're doing all those actions and you're playing a 5-player game, I could see that getting very long, right? And bored. And that's why I'd say I would almost say just go into the next phase at that point instead of having everybody wait for that person to go through. And like I said, if they don't have a card that impacts the market row, the animal row, just have the next person go. Last thing is the theme. So the theme is animals, and it is rewilding them or coexisting them, putting them in habitats, things like that. I like the theme. It's an animal theme. We like animals. We're always going to enjoy animal themes and animal themed games. Like I said, I think the thematicness is there, right? You're getting caretakers, you're training caretakers, you're assigning them to animals, take care of the animal to get them ready to put them back out in the wild. So all that theme is there. It's very minimal, right? I think the only disconnect for theme for me and Audrey when we played the first time, me this time as well, is like I said, that disconnect. It's like, well, I'm letting the animal go, but I'm keeping it. And again, I understand why you have to keep it for gameplay purposes, right? Because I need to know what abilities I've unlocked, right? So there we go, guys. That is Coexist. If you are interested in this game, I believe Matagot probably has it up on their website. If you want to see maybe the multiplayer game, let me know down in the comments. I can see if Audrey wants to play it on the channel. If you want to see any more live playthroughs like this, like, subscribe, bell notification, all that YouTube stuff. Until next time, guys. Peace.